Okay, let's jump right in. You've given us some really interesting source materials here. Excerpts, sounds like testimony or interviews,
Yeah, that's right.
all focused on, well, key points in a government investigation. We're seeing stuff about classified info, email sorting, documents, immunity deals.
And some pretty conflicting stories about who knew what, especially about a private server.
Right. So our mission today, yours and mine, is to take your sources, the ones you sent over, and really unpack them.
Exactly. What are the key details? What questions are actually being asked in the material? And, what do the answers or sometimes the lack of answers really tell us?
We want to help you, the listener, sort of navigate these specific points, see the tensions the sources themselves bring up.
Perfect. Think of us as guides, just highlighting the important bits from this specific material. So where does the story in these sources really kick off?
It starts with the initial discovery. The inspector general finds classified information where it shouldn't be in a non-secure setting. And that prompts the FBI to, well, go to a law firm where this info was apparently located.
A law firm. And they took stuff, computers, drives.
Exactly. The source mentions at least one computer and a thumb drive were seized there.
Okay.
And here's a key detail the source points out right away. For that particular seizure, no immunity was needed.
Got it. So step one, initial seizure, no immunity involved.
But then the source talks about a big gap, like a whole year, before the investigators really pushed to get computers from Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson. Why so long? And why their computers?
Yeah, the material indicates it took that long to insist on getting those specific machines. And the reason given sounds strategic.
Strategic how?
The team believed those were the computers used to actually sort the emails.
Hmm?
Their goal wasn't necessarily about finding classified stuff on them, but more about understanding the process, the electronic trail. How was the sorting done? What got kept? What got deleted? That kind of thing.
Ah, okay. So understanding the how, not just the what. And this is where immunity starts coming into play for people, right? Cheryl Mills is mentioned.
Yes. The source confirms she got something called an active production immunity agreement from the DOJ.
Active Production Immunity Agreement. What does that actually mean, like, in simple terms?
Typically, it means you agree to cooperate, produce specific things, maybe testify.
Right.
And in return, you get immunity from prosecution for anything criminal that's revealed specifically because you produced that stuff.
So it's a tool to get information they might not get otherwise.
Exactly. Protects the person for what they're forced to turn over.
Okay. And the interviewer in the source asks point blank, why was that needed for her?
And the answer in the source is basically, can't say. The speaker says it's between a lawyer and her client and the Justice Department lawyers.
Huh. So confidential legal reasons, essentially.
That's the implication given in the source, yeah. The speaker couldn't or wouldn't elaborate on the why.
It does underline how tricky these legal areas are. The source also mentions, sort of briefly, that David Kendall, another lawyer involved, wasn't interviewed by the FBI, but his partner was. Any reason given?
Just that the speaker, at the time of this testimony, didn't remember the specific reason why that decision was made.
Okay. So initial seizure, no immunity. Then a strategic push for Mills and Samuelson's computers. Mills gets this specific immunity, reason unclear. Kendall note. Got it. Then the source really pivots to Paul Combetta, or Mr. Ketta, as he's called.
Yeah, this part dives into his actions with the emails and documents. The source flags a specific Reddit post, July 24, 2014, associated with Combetta.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah.
And the post talked about needing to strip a VIP's very VIP email address and archiving emails.
Correct. And the interviewer immediately jumps on the date, July 24, 2014. Because the question posed right then is basically, how is this not trying to alter federal records? Especially since that date was apparently very close to when documents were under subpoena and a preservation order.
A preservation order. Yeah. That means don't delete anything relevant.
Exactly. It's a legal hold. So the question is, does this Reddit post look like someone's messing with records right when they're legally supposed to be frozen?
What's the response in the source?
The speaker says they don't know for sure, sitting here, suggests it kind of depends on what the record was and exactly what he was trying to do.
Implying intent matters, maybe? Or the exact nature of the change?
Seems like it. And maybe if it was just about privacy or something and disclosed. But the questioning keeps going. Did Combetta actually destroy federal records?
And the answer on that?
On that specific point, the speaker says they have no reason to believe he destroyed federal records.
Okay. There sounds like a but coming.
There is. Immediately after saying that, the speaker confirms he did use BleachBit.
BleachBit. That sounds specific. What is that?
It is specific. It's software designed to securely wipe files. Makes them extremely hard, maybe impossible to recover.
Okay. And the source connects using that tool to why he needed immunity.
Explicitly. This is laid out very clearly in the source. The reason he wanted immunity was because he used BleachBit after all the public attention started, after Congress demanded records, and critically, after the subpoena and the preservation order were already in place.
Wow. So using that tool at that specific time.
That was the issue, described in the source as his oh shit moment.
So his worry wasn't just cooperating in general, it was about using this wiping tool after all the legal demands hit.
Seems to be exactly the point made in the source.
So what did they find out after giving him immunity? Did he say why he did it?
Well, the source says that after getting immunity, Gambetta told them no one had directed him to do that, meaning specifically using BleachBit right then.
No one told him to use BleachBit at that moment.
Correct. And the speaker in the source adds that they found his account on that specific point credible. Said there wasn't evidence, like emails or calls, showing someone told him, go use BleachBit now.
Okay, so no direct order found for the BleachBit action then. But does the source leave it there? It feels like there's more nuance.
There is. A lot more. Because the source also states that Gambetta was told, at some point, by someone on Clinton's staff, the interviewer suggests, maybe a lawyer like Cheryl Mills, to get rid of the archive file.
Ah, so told to get rid of it at some point, but not necessarily told to use BleachBit after the subpoena.
That's the distinction the source seems to be drawing. He was supposed to do it, apparently way back in December 2014, but didn't then. The speaker can't recall who told him initially or exactly when that instruction came.
But he was told to get rid of the archive eventually?
Yes, that's stated. So the tension is instruction at some point versus the method and timing of deletion after legal orders.
And the source does state the bottom line. Federal records were destroyed using BleachBit after the subpoena preservation order, and he had been told at some point to get rid of them.
It really highlights that sequence.
Yeah.
The instruction, the delay, the legal orders, the BleachBit action, the immunity, and then the explanation. It's complex.
Yeah, really detailed. And the source circles back to those Reddit posts just briefly, right?
Yeah, just adds a timeline point. Notes a subpoena went out for those specific posts on September 15th, 2016.
Yeah.
4 days later, September 19th, the posts were deleted or taken down.
Huh. 4 days.
The speaker just adds, they hope the FBI took that timing into consideration.
Okay. Let's pivot then to the last main section in the source material we have. This is where it gets into apparently conflicting accounts about who knew about the private server and when.
Right, this is presented as a major point of, well, friction. The source mentions FBI interview summaries. In those, Cheryl Mills and other close aides, Huma Abedin, Jake Sullivan, someone redacted, apparently told the FBI they didn't know about the private server until after Clinton left date or until it became public knowledge.
Okay, so that's one version, unaware until later.
But the source immediately contrasts that with Justin Pagliano's account.
What did he say?
According to his interview summary, Pagliano clearly recalls going to Cheryl Mills' office. He told her about concerns someone at the State Department had raised concerns specifically about federal records and using a private server.
He told Mills about State Department concerns. And what was her reaction, according to him?
He remembers her replying that, former secretaries of state, like Colin Powell, had done similar things.
Whoa, okay, so Pagliano's memory, as presented here, is that he directly discussed state server records concerns with Mills, and she acknowledged it, even comparing it to past practice.
That's what the source states his account was.
That seems, well, pretty hard to square with being unaware of the server's existence or the issues around it.
It certainly seems to create tension with that narrative, based purely on what's in this source material. But it doesn't stop there. The source brings in something even more direct.
The 2010 email.
That's the one. An email from 2010. From Heather, just called Mills here, to Justin Cooper. And the source notes Cooper wasn't a state employee, had no clearance.
Okay. And the email says?
Mills writes something like, FYI HRC email coming back. Is server okay?
His server okay to the other day.
And Cooper replies, short and sweet, you are funny, we're on the same server.
We're on the same server. Wow, that seems pretty explicit. Awareness of a server, awareness of potential problems with it, way back in 2010.
That's exactly the contradiction the source hammers home.
Yeah.
Puts this 2010 email right up against the claims of unawareness until much later.
Yeah.
And the source basically ends that section by asking the question outright. Given this 2010 email, how did the FBI conclude in their summary that she, Mills, and presumably the others didn't know about this.
It really throws those different pieces of information, the unaware summaries, Pagliano's memory, this email, into sharp relief, doesn't it? Leaves you wondering how they fit together, if they even can.
Yeah, it forces you to think about different kinds of evidence, memory versus written records, and how investigators weigh and present things when accounts diverge so much.
Okay, so this has been a real deep dive just into the specific points and, frankly, the tensions within the source material you gave us.
Yeah, we've hit the initial discovery, the strategic reasons for getting those later computers, the whole immunity question, especially the why for Cheryl Mills being left open.
And we really dug into the Combetta situation, the Reddit post timing, using BleachBit after the legal orders, immunity tied to that action.
And that crucial distinction the source made. Maybe not directed to use BleachBit then, but told at some point to get rid of the archive.
Hmm.
And the fact that records were destroyed after the subpoena.
Right. And finally, highlighting that major apparent conflict, the source points out about server awareness, the aide's claims of unawareness versus Poliano's memory, and especially that pretty stark 2010 email asking if the server was okay.
And remember, our aim here was just to pull out and explain the key details, the conflicts, the questions as they appear in these specific source excerpts you shared with us.
Exactly. We're not going beyond the material provided.
So pulling all these threads together from the source, the different stories, the timing of things like BleachBit and the Reddit deletion versus legal demands, the emails that seem to contradict testimony, maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. What does this specific collection of details tell us about just how challenging it is for investigators? Trying to pin down a definitive sequence of events, figuring out people's intent, especially when you're dealing with memory and emails and technical actions, and they don't always, line up neatly.